What's up, guys? Welcome back to the shop. So in this episode, we're going to be getting a dash made for twin snail mail. It didn't come with the dash originally when we got it. Plus, the original one would have been way too small for the number of gauges we're going to put on it. So to do that, we got ourselves some 16 gauge steel, and we're going to be using our KAKA Industrial press brake shear slip roller to get that done. So stay tuned to it. I'm excited to be back to work on twin snail mail. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you got any questions. And don't forget to hit up ftpspeedshop.com and go get yourself some merch. Help support the channels. And check out some of our affiliate links down below. Let's get this dash built. Okay guys, to get started in here, what we're going to do is just start taking some pretty rough measurements. We're going to cut everything a tad bit long so we can bend it, and then we'll custom fit it and trim it as it goes. So we'll go ahead and get all these numbers. We'll write them down, and then what I'll do is I'll come back with a piece of sheet metal that's easily bent by hand and kind of make a rough layout of how I want this to work. So let's go grab a little piece of sheet metal out of the rack. All right, I got a piece of sheet metal. I just took my numbers that I wanted. This is going to be the gauge face here. We're going to sit something like this. It's not big enough to go all the way to the back, but I have my dimensions. This piece needs to be 6 3/4 long before it bends 90. And then this one down here needs to be 5 inches long, just to cover up it'll sit about like this, just to cover up the steering column and all the wires and stuff underneath there. So let's go cut out a piece of 16 gauge and get it laid out and start bending it. Alright guys, there's the dash panel for the twin snail mail. This will be the flat part back here. Gauges will go here. This will go back underneath the steering column. Steering column goes through, I don't know, somewhere like right in this area. So we're gonna cut the hole out for that, but yeah. Fucked up this bend a little bit and screwed it up, made it a little too tight, but I was able to flatten it out somewhat and get pretty close to the template profile. Pretty damn close. Could probably bend that lower one just a little bit more. Yeah, so we halfway mocked this thing up inside the snail mail. This is where the steering column's gonna come out. I just used a mixing cup to get my radius there. I'm gonna drill a hole saw through this, and then we'll cut this part out, and we'll make a different panel for that later on so that we can access the bolts to undo the steering column without having to take the dash out. So let's get to drilling. Alright guys, all the GoPros are dead at the end of the night, of course, because GoPros always let me down. But we've been hustling out here for the last about 3.5 hours, and we got a little something done, so we'll switch over here. So we've been working on this dash on snail mail. Got this thing broke out with a new brake press shear, and this is where we're at. So I think it's going to work out pretty good. The goal here probably is we're going to go ahead and run a diagonal up here at some angle, I'm not sure, and then we'll go ahead and do another diagonal over here, and we'll go ahead and put some panels on the end of it to close it off. But this is the new dash panel for twin snail mail. It has been a ton of work, way more work than I thought. I've had to hammer things out because they didn't fit right here the way they were supposed to, or the way I thought they should. But we moved it this way. I'll probably come over here and do an angle, like a little pie cut through here, and just fold this in so there's not a sharp edge out here at the doorway. But we're making some headway on Twin Snail Mail. What's up guys, welcome back. New day here. We got the gauges all laid out for Twin Snail Mail. They got the dash pad cut and fitting in here beautifully. I don't know why I called it a pad, it's not very padded. And now it's time to make the metal pieces that'll go in here. So we're gonna make templates out of just a plain old, what is this, file folder thingy-majobber. We're gonna close off this end, and then close this guy off right here. And we've got the dash tacked down, and by tacked I mean it's clamped on that side and got a screw, zip screw on that side holding it in place. So we'll make our forms or templates out of this exactly as it sits here. Get them to fit perfect. We'll pull this whole thing out. We might actually just bring it welder back over here and just throw a couple tacks in to keep this from moving, and then we'll weld this all in. Yeah, buddy. All right, so there's our template. Might be a tad on the long side, but we'll get it cut out of metal, and then we can do a little bit of tight trimming on the piece once we get it there. So a piece for that side. And then there's our piece for right there. There we go. All right, back over here at the brake. I've got a piece right here that'll be perfect for the small one. This is a cool trick I learned from Mr. Jap Hands himself at Make It Custom. Rather than using Dicom, get yourself a big Sharpie. Let's see, I think that's gonna fit on there the best, take up the least amount of room. Let that dry. And then we'll just take a pick or an awl and we'll scribe this in here. We'll use, we'll just trace around our part, or pattern I should say, with the awl, and it'll scratch right through that Sharpie. Probably kind of hard to see, but there's a line there. All right, let's get it cut out. Alright guys, back in Snail Mail. I got my patch panels cut and just tacked in here. I want to tack it as it's going to sit in the dash so that it doesn't move any, and we can make sure it's going to fit perfectly. If we tacked it outside the car and then, you know, welded it up and then brought it in here, it probably wouldn't fit right. So got my zip screw here. I got vice grips holding it down here, and I just got a couple tacks on this piece here. I'm going to get this panel tacked in. It's ready to go. And then we will tack the side panel and we'll pull the whole thing out and we'll weld it outside the car. All right, got everything tacked in. Got some boogers on there. So we'll pull the whole thing out and go weld it on the bench. All right, guys, fast forward an hour. We got everything welded up and ground down nice and clean. Thing looks pretty sick. I'm pretty impressed with myself. That's probably like the nicest thing I've ever fabricated out of metal. It's not saying much. It's just a weird triangle shaped box, but it is what it is. It looks pretty damn good. I'm happy with it. I went ahead and center punched all of these spots for the gauges, and we're gonna start drilling the holes. I did find that bar that runs across here that holds the steering column, guess where that's at? It's right behind these. So we're gonna drill these through, see where they come through, and we'll probably have to modify that bar down below to hold the steering wheel. There's plenty of room under here to move it and lower it or whatever. So we're gonna start drilling these out. I've got a hole saw coming that should fit those. Center punch those out for the turn signals. I gotta still figure out what size hole that needs to be, but I do have the 2 3/8 hole saw, which by the time that wallows around in there, it should be pretty damn close to the right size. Might have to touch it up with the die grinder a little bit, but let's get to it. One down, 6 to go.